Hello, students. Today we're going to be working with adding and subtracting polynomials. For the past 2 days, you have been working with monomials, which is a combination of letters and numbers multiplied together. But polynomials, again, are a series of monomials that are linked by addition or subtraction signs. So today we're going to be adding and subtracting groups of polynomials. So just a reminder before we start that when we do this, we can only combine like terms which have the same variable and the same power. Please do not be combining things that are not like terms. Very important. All right, let's try a problem. Okay, here's our first example. Notice that we are adding, this is a polynomial, and this is a polynomial. So this addition sign separates the two polynomials. There are two different ways that we can approach adding polynomials. One of the ways is just to look at the problem and find the like terms and add those together. The other way I will show you on the next slide, but first let's do it this way. Okay, so our like terms here, the only variable we have is x. And so these four terms all have an x, but if you'll notice, some of them have an x squared and some of them do not. So we want to keep the x squareds together and leave the x's to the understood first power for later. So let's do the x squareds first. So here we have 3x squared and here we have 7x squared, but notice this one is negative. It has a minus in front of it, so we want to keep that negative with the 7x squared. So if we were to add those together, we would add 3 and negative 7, which would give us a negative 4. And when we put our variable on there, we want to make sure we keep the variable and the power the same because we're adding. If we were multiplying, then we would increase our exponent, but we're not. We're adding, so we're going to keep it the same. Okay, so we're done with our x squared, so we'll go ahead and cross those out. Next, we need to add together the x terms. So both of these have x's attached to them, so they are like terms, so we will add them together. Negative 4 plus 2 gives us negative 2, so we will go ahead and write that as minus 2x. All right, then we will cross out our x terms. Next, the only thing we have left are constants, which just means they're numbers without variables. So we're going to go ahead and add our constants together, 8 plus negative 5. These negatives are very important. Please don't forget them. This goes with the number that's behind it. This sign, whatever it is, goes with the number that's behind it. So please don't add 8 and 5. You will get the wrong answer. Make sure you include these negatives with them. Okay, so 8 and negative 5 make positive 3. So we will make that positive 3. Sorry about this handwriting. It's a little bit hard to write with this pen thing that I'm using. So it's going to look a little funny. But our answer when we're done is negative 4x squared minus 2x plus 3. And we can cross out those last constants if it makes you feel better. The second method we can use to add polynomials is the vertical method, which means we're going to put one polynomial on top and another polynomial on the bottom. If you'll notice, I'm using the same polynomials that I did in the first problem. So 3x squared minus 4x plus 8, same polynomial. Now this one is also the same polynomial. The second one, I just rearranged it. So 7x squared, the negative 7x squared, I put first because I wanted to line up the like terms. Then I put my 2x underneath the negative 4x to line up those like terms. And then finally my minus 5. So we can do this just like any other addition problem that you do with regular numbers. And you can just go through and add. So when we start with, when we do addition like this, we usually start on the right and work our way left. So we'll start over here with the constants. And positive 8 minus 5 is 3, positive 3 again. And negative 4x plus 2x is again negative 2x. This is a negative right here. And 3x squared plus negative 7x is again going to be a negative 4x. So you see that no matter which way we do this, we get the same answer both times. We get a negative 4x squared minus 2x plus 3. It's just depending on how your brain works. One method may work for you better than the other one. Okay, here's another problem with addition. Again, this is a polynomial. Technically, it's classified as a binomial, and this one is classified as a trinomial, but binomials and trinomials both are polynomials. So, we are still adding polynomials. For this problem, the first method, we just find the like terms and combine them. So, the like terms that we have here, first we have in this polynomial, we have x's, so let's look for the x's in the second polynomial. There it is, 4x. So x plus 4x is going to be 5x. And then we go next, we have a constant in this polynomial. So we can look for a constant over here. Yep, there it is. 5 plus negative 2 is going to be positive 3. Okay, and sorry, I forgot to cross those out. We can do that. Now, we don't have any terms left in this polynomial to add, but we have one left over here. So what you do with leftovers is you just use this sign, whatever it is, and add it to your answer. So we're going to say plus 2y at the end. Okay, now generally, we like to put them in alphabetical order according to their variables and then put constants at the end. So in your answer, in your final answer, you can rearrange it to be 5x plus 2y plus 3, and that would probably be the most proper way to write it. Okay? Now, if we want to do our vertical method, where we put one polynomial on top and then the other polynomial below it and add, we would have to do x plus 5 on the top, and then 2y. Now, we don't have a 2y in the top term, so we can put it either on the left or out to the right. I'm going to put mine on the left. 2y plus 4x minus 2. Now, remember, we're going to line up our like terms, so here is our x terms, and here are our constants. Okay, so add them together. 5 plus negative 2 is positive 3. 1x plus 4x is 5x, and that's positive. And then, of course, over here, we just have our 2y. And again, our answers are the same. They are just changed around a little bit. So if we change around this answer, this blue answer, we would change it to 5x plus 2y plus 3, in keeping with the rules that I just mentioned. So now our answers are the same. Okay, now in this problem, we still have a polynomial over here and a polynomial over here. However, we are subtracting this time. I cannot tell you the number of times that I have graded papers where people are supposed to be subtracting their like terms. Oh, wait, for instance, 13n cubed and 4n cubed, and they tell me 17n cubed. No, that's addition. You're subtracting. So my advice to you would be make it obvious to yourself by distributing. This minus sign is outside of this parentheses, which means that you could actually distribute this subtraction symbol to both the 7n and to the 4n cubed. So you can rewrite this as 3n squared plus 13n cubed plus 5n minus 7n minus 4n cubed. So all you've done is that you've taken this subtraction sign into this parentheses and given it to both of these terms. That is really helpful when you're going through and trying to answer these questions. Now you can just go through and combine your like terms, and whatever sign is in front of the term, that's the one you're going to use in your answer. So it's almost like you've just turned it into an addition problem. Okay, so we have all n's in this problem. There's no other variable, so that's good. We want to start with the highest power. So we're going to start with n cubed. So here's an n cubed, and here's an n cubed. So 13n cubed minus 4n cubed is going to give us 9n. And remember, we keep the variable the same, so cubed is what we keep in our answer. Then we have 3n squared, and we don't have any other n squareds. So since our 3 is positive, we're going to keep a positive 3n squared. You can cross those out once you get done with them. And last but definitely not least, we have this 5n to the understood first power and negative 7n to the understood first power. So we can combine those. 5 positive 5 minus 7 is going to give us negative 2n, and cross those out, and that is our answer. If you want to use the vertical method on these subtraction problems, you can, but you have to remember that you are subtracting. And the other thing is, again, just like the addition, you have to line up your like terms. So if I were you, I would rearrange my polynomials in order from largest exponent to smallest exponent. So we're going to start with the 13n cubed, and then we're going to add the 3n squared, and then add the 5n. Now for our second polynomial, we only have an n squared term and an n cubed term and an n term. So we need to put our n cubed term over here and our n term over here. So now we can draw our line just like we did before, but this time we're subtracting. Okay, don't forget that when you're doing this. We don't have any n squareds, and that's okay. We can just leave that area blank and bring whatever this term is down to the same spot in your answer. So 13n cubed minus 4n cubed is 9n cubed. Again, 3n squared minus essentially nothing is 3n squared. And 5n minus 7n is negative 2n. So our answers turn out the same in both methods. It's just a different way of doing it depending on how your brain works the best. Okay, so here again we have another subtraction problem. We have a trinomial over here and a trinomial over here. So we can start, the first method is to distribute the subtraction sign. So we can rewrite this as 4x plus 5xy plus 3y minus, now we're distributing the subtraction sign, minus the 3y first. Then the minus sign distributes to the 6x, so minus 6x. And then it distributes to the 8xy, so minus 8xy. Okay, so finding our like terms, we start with 4x. Do we have any x's in this polynomial? Yes, right here. So 4x minus 6x is going to give us negative 2x. Then, cross those off. Now we have 5xy, and we're looking here is a negative 8xy. So 5 minus 8 is going to give us a negative 3xy. Cross them off. And finally, we have a positive 3y minus 3y. So 3y minus 3y is going to give us 0, and we will not bother putting that in our answer. We will just cross them off. So this then becomes our answer. And now we'll try the vertical method. So if we set it up as 4x plus 5xy plus 3y, and line up our like terms. So the first term in our second polynomial is 3y, so we put that down here. And then comes 6x, so put that down here. Then comes positive 8xy. And this one was positive. Okay, now we need to draw a line underneath, and remember we are subtracting. We're subtracting. Okay, so like terms, 4x minus 6x, negative 2x. 5xy minus 8xy is negative 3xy. And 3y minus 3y is 0. So we're going to leave that blank. And again, we get the same answer in the vertical method. Now, I know you are probably getting the hang of this by now and are ready to start your homework, but I wanted to address real quick before you get started what happens if you have negatives or subtraction signs in your second polynomial. Because I told you to distribute this minus sign, and so if you distribute a negative to something that's already negative, I hope you know this, but just in case you don't, it becomes a positive. So we will rewrite the first polynomial as it is, and then we will distribute this subtraction sign to the second polynomial. Negative, negative, right? We have minus a negative 5a squared, which means when we rewrite this, we're going to write plus 5a squared. Now we distribute the minus sign to the positive a, to the plus a, and that becomes minus a. But then when we distribute the negative to the negative 10, it becomes then positive 10. Okay? So then we combine our like terms, 6a squared and 5a squared, and that gives us 11a squared. 7a minus a gives us a positive 6a. And negative 9 plus 10 is going to give us a positive 1. Now, if you do this in the vertical method, you now have 6a squared plus 7a minus 9. Your like terms are already in the correct order. Whoops. So negative 5a squared plus a minus 10. But this one's a little bit trickier. You have your minus sign out front here. And you have to remember when you do things like 6a squared minus negative 5a that you end up with 11a. Because when you minus a negative, you end up adding. Okay, and then 7a, 7a minus a, minus a positive a, right? 7a minus a is 6a, positive 6a. And again, we have a negative 9 minus negative 10, which means we actually have negative 9 plus 10. So negative 9 plus 10 is going to be positive 1. And again, we have the same answer, but this makes things a little trickier, this minus sign. So please, please, please be careful of your subtraction signs. Okay, I think that about sums up adding and subtracting polynomials. So it is time for you to get your pencils and erasers. And no calculators on this. You should know how to how to add and subtract integers, so you do not need calculators. Good luck. Don't forget, like terms only. Like terms. Okay. See you later.